Hi, Steve. Ooh, well, I never want to say that I look forward to this or that watch, but man, I've been looking forward to this watch. You're the original owner of this. You bought it when you were in the service in Vietnam, and you very carefully marked the entire thing with your name, your blood type, and this, where's that wonderful message? If you are reading this, you stole my watch, you're in deep blank. That's awesome. Well, nobody stole it. Here it is. It's time to do it. We've got got some staining here on the hands from water intrusion. I'll see if we can't make that better. That's always nice. You've got a fisheye pip. That's really cool. It's like it's the rarer version. These mostly came with flat pips, but sometimes they came with the fisheye. I don't know why, but they did. That is cool. All right, well, let's reacquaint ourselves with this, shall we? Okay. This went through the Seiko Service Center in Hawaii. That's not a servicing mark I see often. Sealing surfaces there look good. Sealing surfaces here look good. The watch is from May 1968, pretty early. These have been out for 2 months, but as is correct, it has the old one-piece style movement ring, 6105A marked movement with the beveled edges. You can see usual serious lower mainspring arbor port wear. This is all ground down. Absolutely normal. During one of its services, the original crown was swapped out for the second gen 6105 locking crown. Of course, there's no pin in this case, so it doesn't lock. I always like these kind of things. I like leaving that kind of stuff. I think that's cool. Because functionally, it's exactly the same. Doesn't do anything different, but it just shows some of the history of the crown that was installed when it was in Hawaii. Cool. Well, let's start. Such fun. Such great fun. I will do my best, by the way, to preserve this stamp. If I run this thing through my regular ultrasonic for cleaning cases, that mark will go away. I don't want to do that. Let's see if we can keep it. I think that'd be important. Okay. Running bridge off of here. I like using the movement inside the case to do this preliminary stuff because it's the best holder there is for the movement, in my opinion. One tiny screw, 2 tiny screws, 3 tiny screws. Interesting. A lot of oil in here. A lot of oil on the bottom of this thing. I wonder why. I wonder where that came from. Okay. Let's get this going. Alrighty then. Okay. Oop, there's the first. Yeah, it had power in the mainspring, and it was just barely running. Look at it, it's trying to drag backwards too. There you go. You can see that thing shifting around. Come on, out. Out. There we go. Typical. Every now and then I question the wisdom of my making restoration videos, just because it makes things just a little bit harder, and also it makes things take things longer. But it's nice, I think, doing it for the owners, because then they get to see what's really happening, which is important. There we go. Come on now. Let's go. Out we get. Out we get. Out. Out, out, out. Okay. Ready? Let's do it. Interesting. Of course, this has also, because I'm asleep at the switch, this also has a service style. Resist marked. Not interesting. I'll be very curious to see what the date on this resist dial is. I think that's going to be fun to find out. All right. Yep, that's the way my life goes. Oh, isn't that interesting? I really am asleep at the switch. Not only is this a service dial, the service hands are 6139 hands. And that's something I see a lot with watches that were refurbed pretty late. Like after production had stopped in the mid-late 70s, into the early 80s, we see that. Okay, well, we're going to find out the date on this thing. That's going to be fun. Okay. Okay, so we're going to find out together. Oh, good, your ring is intact. Huh. There you go. December 73. Service dial, December 73. That's a pretty good piece. You got a few little streakies on it. Little pecks and stuff, but I'll be able to clean that up. Cool. Alrighty. So now it's time to get into it. Okay. I know it would probably be preferable if I was providing a running narration. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. get going. There we go, is your pallet fork bridge. Looking at those little teeny tiny faces in the pallet stones. It doesn't look too bad inside. We got some slop on that one, but I've seen worse. Let's get it all cleaned up and let's pull that bridge and see what we can see. Yeah, you can see that that mainspring arbor is badly worn. That's real typical. I'm talking like real typical. Did you get in there? It's funny, the other day my son was busy working on some toy of his and trying to fix it up, and he's like, "Stop fighting me." Well, isn't that just charming? Okay. Ooh, wow. Look at the upper mainspring arbor bushing right there, with all the black stuff around it and the brassing. See how ground down that is? Well, that is going to need some work. That's for sure. And look at this when they service this. Really? Really? How is that possible? I wonder when this was done. I mean, the servicing wasn't necessarily done at December 93. I'm sorry, December 73. Maybe that part was just what the parts house has, because this is a 6309 fourth wheel. 6105 has spokes like that third wheel there. This is a 6309. They're almost the same watch, and so that's a pretty standard fix. That is interesting. That is interesting. Hi, Sebastian is outside my window, and being that he is Sebastian, he is not wearing any pants. Let's see. Okay. Well, let's get this going. Pull that center wheel cock out of there. Alrighty. The moment everybody's been waiting for. Yeah. Right on. Look at the grind on that. Look at the brassing, the heavy brassing around there. That is magnificent. That's why we have to machine that stuff out. Wacky. Whew, dear. Alright, well, I got to do that. I haven't gotten to this thing yet, but I did just find something else. This is your mainspring, okay? If we look at the plane of it, you see how it's not flat to itself? It's called coned. It's coning. That means the mainspring itself is bad, because it's not going to deliver straight power. So that sucks off a fair amount of energy. That's what she said. So we're going to have to redo that or replace that. That's good. That's good that we found that, because then when we are done, it will be better. I just this minute realized that I have not been filming, and I forgot to do that. Anyway, out of the cleaner, and I've started putting it together. There is your new lower mainspring arbor jewel. Everything else is clean. I'm just at the process now of assembling the back side of the movement. With 6105s, with the way they wear, there's your mainspring barrel. You see the wear, but it's all clean now, inside and out with new lubrication. 6105s, I really like to get them running without the calendar, so I can look at how I can check each individual wheel. That's pretty important, and to see how things run. And if you just go hell for leather and you bolt the whole thing together, I don't know. It makes it harder to chase down something if you've missed something. So I like to do it this way. So this is still your original movement, unlike the hands and the dial, which were replaced in 1981, because that's what this thing says. Hawaii. It's January 81, I believe, unless it's January 91, but I'd be real surprised. But they did not replace your movement. This is still the A movement, which is so very fine. It is interesting. I found this there's that. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. So what we do is we put this on here, wheel by wheel by wheel, and we see how if there's slop or anything else like that, we see how each wheel turns independently, see if there's any issues. And again, it's all about seeing where there's issues. Hang on a second. Ooh, that looks nice. Oh, that's so nice. Look at that. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. It keeps rolling. It's not even lubricated. That's good. That's nice. Okay. That makes me so happy. Because these fourth wheels, they tend to be the ones that wear. So that's good. And here's the other critical one, which is, of course, our escape wheel. Third wheels aren't quite as critical. I mean, they're important and everything, but they're pretty slow. So you can get away with stuff on them, but I mean, I am going to check it, so. Ah, that one looks good too. So you got your escape wheel. Ah, that's so nice. Look at it go. Just gonna check the. It's got a good amount of up and down though. It shouldn't have that much, so I'm gonna have to look at that wheel. It's going up and down like so, which it should not do because it needs to stay aligned correctly. Yeah, that's a lot of slop, honestly. But it rotates nicely. I might just have to drop this jewel down a little bit. Okay. Put that there. Let's just do the third wheel. Third wheel you can't really spin up because it interacts with the center wheel. See? And so that's not really going to tell us a whole lot, but we can look at lash and all that stuff. So we can see it's turning, obviously. That looks pretty tight, actually. Okay, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to adjust the jewel on the train bridge for the escape wheel, and we'll take some of that wiggle out of there. Okay, using my handy-dandy Zeitz jeweling tool, this thing allows you to move jewels by a fraction of a millimeter, which is what you want. So now I have adjusted that. And you don't want it too tight. It's got to have some up and down, some give. But now, instead of slopping up and down, it still turns beautifully, but it's not binding up and it's not flopping around. And that's what we want. Okay, I have the train assembled. I've already checked the... Look at that. I touch it and it starts to run. Isn't that nice? So we go up a little bit. And the thing we always want to look at, what I always look at, is where the teeth of the barrel meet the gear in the middle of the center wheel. The teeth in the barrel should be exactly right at the top of the teeth on that center wheel, and we have achieved that, which is always nice. You see all the gears there moving and turning, which is great. Okay, so I've got to put the jewel in, Diashock on the other side, and then I want to get this up to power and get it running and see how it looks. Okay, so found an issue. Your center wheel is really worn. This is your center wheel. You can see it here. In the middle of the center wheel is its pinion, which snaps in place with this cannon pinion. This transfers power from one side to the other. I'm trying to think of how I can do this so you can see what I'm seeing. See all that slopping and flopping? That's no good, because it does a few things. It bleeds off a ton of power, mostly. It's just, it ain't right. But also with that much movement, we can start getting binding issues inside the calendar on this side, because this cannon pinion is coming out of alignment. So, silly me for pushing ahead with the train when I should have checked the center wheel. But that's why I do these checks. Yeah, you can really see it actually right here. On the plus side, man, your calendar side here is really, really unworn. Normally you'll see brassing underneath the minute wheel here from it going around and around, but that's really nice and clean. Ditto here. There's your lower mainspring arbor jewel. Yeah, gotta get that taken care of. So I'm going to go back in, rip that apart, and let's try it again. Okay. So I got that center wheel replaced. There's the old one, which you will get back. There's the balance. And there she blows. I'm getting a little bit of wobble on your balance. I might have to mod this just a hair to bring this, to take out the end shake on this one, because it's wiggling a bit. But we'll see. I'll look at the numbers first. Okay, let's look at the numbers. Okay, it is running. Sorry if you're hearing screaming. The girls are once again fighting. Okay, let's see what we see. Yeah, I'm not sure about that balance. See, we're getting a clean signal on one side, but not the other. Let me adjust the amplitude on this, but I think I'm going to have to, I think I'm going to have to go back in and look at that balance. God, the girls. I don't understand it. I mean, how often can they fight? Jeez, oh Pete. Yeah, look at that. You can see one side is clean and the other is just a mess. Let's see. I am going to try to first bring that beat error into line. See if that helps us at all. God, the amplitude is just not great though. Ugh. 164, it's barely running. Okay, I got clean beat error, so now I'm going to drop that down to try to get more accurate. And then I'll have to go back in again and fiddle with the beat error to take that out. Hey, the numbers are coming up. That's something. Come on. A little bit of, come on. I'm just, when you get to this point with the beat error, it's just, it takes only a little bit. Little goes a long, long way. I mean, that's close. Let's see if I can tighten that a little more. Oh, am I going too far? God, I don't understand. Where does Willow find the energy to scream all the time? I mean, my throat would start hurting. No, it went the wrong way. Let's try that backwards. There we go. I think that looks okay. But you see, look, we're still getting some of that ragged stuff. Numbers are coming up. That's something. I don't know what this stuff is where it's coming in and out of sync. It's still not clean. I mean, but that's better than I was expecting, honestly. I didn't think initially, looking at those numbers, I didn't think I was gonna even get anywhere close to the 200s, and I thought I was gonna have to really rip it apart right away. But in this case, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna watch the numbers and see what happens. Yeah, look, we've almost got a pattern here. Boop, 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 boop. I wonder if one of the wheels is doing something it ought not to do. Well, I've got other things that I can do, so I'm going to let this sit and run and think. I got to work on the hands and the dial and the case and all that stuff. So I'll just sit here and let this run. It's almost at the end of the day. So let it run in overnight, and maybe unless something just doesn't change, then I'll go in and see. I don't know, it looks like the signal's cleaning up a little. Okay, I'm gonna do other stuff. I'm gonna let this run. Okay, so while that is running in, I'm starting to see numbers in the 220s now. It's time to rebuild your crown. Here are all the crown bits. This is interesting because it has, well, it's interesting to me anyway. There are different thicknesses of these little cap washers that go in the back. Most of them are thin, but every now and then you get these really chunky ones. This is one of the fat ones, which I kind of dig. So there are 4 pieces. This is the little washer that drops inside, just like that. And then we are going to put, well, I want to do something else first. I want to get some extra silicone grease inside that crown, because that will make me feel a little better about things. A little bit of extra silicone grease. Just a little bit there. And then when we can put that together, that will help us long term. Ooh, I forgot to do one thing. Where is it? This ring sits inside a channel inside the crown, and I want to make sure that that lip is open. I want to get that up and out. So I put my little poker here, and I roll this just to make sure that that's nice and open. And when I finish closing this crown, that will be nice and tight. And when I close it up, it will look like nothing happened, which is important. We got, darn it. There is that. There's the new gasket in place. Okay, well, I've got to go and would you stop it? I've got to, there we go. I've got to go and cone this a bit so I can get the seat in there. And let me go do that. And there that is. All together. Your new seal and everything in place. It's always nice. It's so satisfying. 100% original crown with a brand new seal. That's what we want. Okay. Okay. We are now assembled. I haven't cranked it up, so that's still about the same power level it was before. It's looking clean. I should have powered it up. I don't know what I was thinking. But it's holding firm. Well, okay, Steve. There it is. All of its glory. The handset that you chose to replace the service handset that's in here, I did clean these hands up, so the loom looks a little better than it did. But you wanted to go specifically with a more stock style handset rather than this set, which, even though I cleaned it up some, they remain pretty rough. Okay, so what I did is I looked through all my stuff, and I picked out. I have a number of original 6105 hands that were used, but they're all pretty rough. They're about like this condition, pretty beat up. So what I did, in fact, though, is I used. This is an original set of Seiko hands from that same era. These are what I call the gabled handsets. They have the peak runs down the middle rather than each side, but the outline, the profile, is exactly the same. And the loom is completely original. These have been sealed away for decades and decades and decades, and as a result, they actually glow slightly. You can't really see it, but if you put these under bright lights, when you get this, you'll definitely get some glow out of it. Well, this was a lot of fun. It took a lot of extra work to get this to where it needed to be. It fought me for a little bit. So I did a number of things here. little repairs inside. I had to straighten your crown internally because it was bent and so it was wobbling and it was hanging up around one of the things. So I straightened that out. Like, the little remediations and things to make it correct. Hang on, I'm being squeaked at. Why don't you stop it? You shouldn't even be in here. Anyway, it was a lot of work, but I enjoyed doing it. I had to chase down a bunch of stuff though, like I had to look again at not just adjusting jewels. I had to look at the escape wheel. I had to go back in and look at the center wheel. Balance that is in this is new old stock. Genuine new old stock, genuine Seiko. I had to do a lot of work to make that happen. I restored your pip. There's your original fisheye pip. One almost never sees those. So it's cool to see it. Interesting about the fisheye pips, only on the fisheye pips, when you look at them on the underneath, they have a tiny little piece. They were held in place with cellophane tape, old school cellophane tape. I don't know why Seiko did that, but they did. All your seals are redone, crown is rebuilt. It's looking good. I'm very much looking forward to you getting this back. I have some extra stuff coming with you. I'm including some things for you to wear it on, a couple sets of spring bars. Here are your original parts. That green plastic thingy down there, that's the holder for the new old stock balance that is in this. And so you've got that. Yeah, it was wild. I had to really sort of... Sometimes these are straightforward. Sometimes they fight me. And this one fought me. But it's coming back. And I really look forward to you getting it, and it's going to be awesome. Oh, and I also replaced your sweep. I originally had not. But this it looked so rough because of the plating loss. I mean, that's your original loom. I'm pretty pleased with how I cleaned it up. But compared to this unworn original Seiko handset, it just didn't look great. So this I threw on for you because it looks correct. It's what we want. I wish you many years of joy wearing this in the future, and I thank you so much for sending it in and for your patience. What a cool watch. Cool watch and cool history. I'm very glad to finally get it back to you. And that's about it. Okay, thank you much.